Alright, so this is gonna be a demonstration for if you guys want to incorporate photographs with uh, your project. And again, I keep forgetting the name of the project because we keep changing the name every time. Okay, mixed media Photoshop. So your mixed media Photoshop project, this is going to be a video that's going to demonstrate how to incorporate photography in your work. If you had me for photography class, then this should be pretty easy. It's gonna be kind of like just a quick review on like things that we've done before, but same principles as your words, drawings, everything that we've talked about that you can incorporate in your mixed media project. It's the same thing with photographs. So obviously you need to spend some time to look over your photos. I'm just going to use these photos in here, net neutrality, net neutrality. So these were some photos I found from net neutrality. So I have this connection of the world, the heart, another connection piece, and then this water bottle part. Okay, now just to give you guys some ideas on like how to do your search. Don't directly search like your social issues or net neutrality. I mean, it might be good to look it up to get some ideas, but for the most part, though, the research that we've done before, where you had you guys read up on it, learn about more. You should have like your kind of your own interpretation of your own idea of what your social issue is about. But one thing I don't want to see though is clicking on these images after looking up net neutrality, and then just literally using these same images in your project. Okay, because when you do this though, this is like letting me know that I have really no idea what net neutrality is, and I'm just kind of picking out like the first few things that kind of like I can relate to in a bit. But um, this is kind of just like you're doing things last minute. But if you go back to the planning that we did before, I still do want you to kind of like stick with the same ideas or same concepts, but use your ideas that you sketched out and use that as a part of your drawing. So for example, I had like this picture of a heart here, and the heart was supposed to symbolize life in the picture. So this is where I look for. That's where I found this image here. And again, I didn't find that image by looking up net neutrality, because you don't find anything about heart, because like internet's it's our lives, our livelihood. It's like we can't really live without it. Nowadays we can't, but but back in the days, yeah, people could afford. But I just looked up heart though, and I just found like a picture with like this thing here, and I try to find like similar pictures to this one. So if you click like view more, you can get some of them similar. Sometimes that button works, sometimes it doesn't. But that's kind of how I found this picture of the hearts here. And then same thing with connections. I again went back to my rough sketch that I did, and you always want to go back to your original ideas. I had the word communication, so I was thinking, oh, communication, that'd be kind of nice to have like a picture of, the world connected together. So I just looked up world connection, you know, and these types of images popped out, where it's like pictures of like the globes connecting to each other. For some reason, I can't find that exact picture, but within like the links that I clicked, though, I found like the like that picture. But you want to go back to like your original sketches to go with this idea, but if you wanted to, you can always change up the ideas as you're going along, because I didn't even think about like adding a world connections image, but I actually think that would be nice for the background of the picture. But again, these are like the images I came up with. So the way we're gonna add the images is pretty easy. You're just gonna click and drag onto the Photoshop, and again we're gonna click it from the folder. So click and drag these from the Photoshop, and just like the same thing when you add your own drawings, you're gonna resize it to the size that you want. That's a pretty good size right now. And then if you want to move things behind your portrait, then I would drag it below the portrait, and it should show up behind it. And again, if your background color is a little bit differently, let's just say I did like and this is a nice tool to use as a gradient tool. If we did like a gradient that goes up and down, we can create a gradual darkness from light here. You can create a gradient. The only thing you would do differently is on this layer here, you would have to change the overlays. And we kind of play around with the overlays a little bit. Multiply is going to do that. It's color burn. This one's doing the opposite, so it's only the white areas. So I think the multiply might work out pretty well. So I'm doing the multiply. I'm doing Command T as in turtle to resize, rotate. Get that image looking the way I had it. So I actually want to change my angle of the picture. If you remember, like the final version that I finished, I actually like the heart tilted a bit. So I'm gonna move it around, get to that angle that I want. And that's how I kind of like plop my images on there. All right, and then the next picture too, I'm gonna add this world picture here, and I'm gonna actually have that be a part of my background picture. I might actually have it cropped out a little bit, so it's like like the planets up there. And again, I'm gonna move this in the very, very back of the picture. So you got some like interesting overlapping going on in the picture, which is totally fine. Okay, so you see, so like I can't really click on the images, so you might have to click on this auto select button, because basically the auto select though it kind of just selects the images that you click on. So this is selecting the portrait, that's this here. Auto select though, if you uncheck it though, you can click on the layer and then move that around. So we're just gonna move that around, maybe play around the overlay again. So let's see how things look if we mess around with that. Yeah, multiply might be better for this one. But you see how like I have this weird line down here? So, sometimes that may happen to your pictures. Like this weird line. So I'm actually gonna change it to darken. That gets rid of that line more. But if you wanted to like erase the line though, you can do layers, layer mask, reveal all. And again, I'm gonna change it back to multiply so you can see that line a little bit better. And if you click on the layer mask and use the brush, my suggestion is use the fuzzy brush. Make it real big. Not that big, but decently big. That's pretty good. Change this to 30. And you could essentially fade these lines out. So the black will erase the picture. And then the white will bring it back. So, you can kind of like fade the pictures together using this method too. This is gonna like erase the picture if you guys are wondering. So if you want to like fade out certain parts, you can, or you change it to white to bring it back. So it's a couple of things that we've learned in photography. And there's other ways of like cutting out the image, but I want you to just use this way because it's a little bit easier. You can also change the opacity too if you want to fade it out a little bit more. Obviously things in the background will fade out more as opposed to things in the front that'll be in the front. But yeah, that's pretty much how you go about with it. So this water bottle here, just click and drag. Do the same exact thing like before. Can't really see this image that well, but make it a little bit bigger. I'm actually going to move this to the very, very top layer, so it's in the very front. I'm going to do Command T, rotate it around. And figure out where I'm going to put this. So like my picture is a little bit differently than before. So I might want to do something a little bit differently with this one here. So that'd be kind of neat if it just fell on, the water fell on me. I mean, it doesn't really quench my thirst, but like it. So with photography though, you have to be a little bit more creative with like how you're doing a composition, because obviously I'm not going to be able to find like this perfect pipe with this perfect water here. Same thing with the heart. The heart's pretty easy though. That's a very generic shaped heart though. But you will have to change up your composition a little bit with photography. But you still want to try to stick with the same ideas. Obviously it's okay to always change up your ideas, but I'm gonna do Command T again. I'm actually gonna flip it around. So if you flip it around, it'll just rotate it that way. I'm gonna put it up here on the top, and I should have this like over here. Maybe crop it out a little bit more. And I'm gonna play around with the overlays again. So I'm gonna try a line. Not really showing up that well. Ooh. Might have to go with multiply again. Okay, that's kind of interesting. Oops. So A lot of it has to do with just using the layers. I find like a perfect one, but yeah, this one's a little bit harder to work with. Let me see. All right, we might have to just go with the multiply, and then we just have to blend in the pictures together. So I had to do layer mask, reveal all, and change it to black. Get a big fuzzy brush, and we're just gonna fade out the edges. So that's kind of my suggestion for cutting out the pictures. It's just to fade out the edges a little bit. I feel like this isn't really the best spot, but just gotta make it work somehow, though. Maybe we can just make it the whole picture. Oh, okay. I actually like how that looks. So yeah, just kind of play around with it. Somehow I got recropped the wrong way. Okay. I need to crop this a little bit more over here. Okay. Yeah, I actually like what's going on here. So, obviously I would overlap things, and I feel like with photography though, you do need the words though. So do make sure to do like what we did on the practice assignment. We go back to your classwork, the practice with Photoshop. So, you guys remember this. We look at this. We did these different things. You gotta add your words to it. I'd be kind of nice to that.